Hey guys, welcome back to another Creative Shock podcast. I'm your co-host Limelight, and we have the lovely Tien back once again. How are we, Justin?
Yep. Hey guys, I'm doing great, thanks. And yeah, glad to be back. So it's been a short while since we've done a podcast together, Jason. But
Yeah,
we did some things
we did do some
from
things.
between that time. So I guess what did we do?
Well, I am just getting over my sickness that I did get from Singapore, so I am coming back into life now. But we did go to Singapore. We did compete at Singapore Ascent. How was your holiday overall in Singapore, other than Ascent, obviously? What did you
Well, yeah. Look, if we discard what happened to the time, we don't talk about that.
do?
I kind of turbo entered my games, but it is what it is. The holiday itself was great though. Singapore is a lovely place. I feel like there's a lot to do for such a small like island country as well. There's definitely a lot to do. It's a very modern country. There's a lot to see. Things like Marina Bay Sands and the gardens by the bay. Those are two of my favorite like touristy attractions. So if you guys ever have time to go to Singapore, check it out. Their food is also amazing as well. Like you can literally go to like any corner. There's hawker centers everywhere. You can get some of the best food, and it's safe as well. Like you won't get sick like from food poisoning most likely, not
Most
like some of
likely.
the other Southeast Asian countries, but yeah, it's great. It was very fun. So
Was this your
got up to a
first?
lot of stuff.
Is this your first Grand Archive Ascent?
Yep, yeah, for me it was, which
So
it
that's
was actually a
really
lot of
good.
fun. Yeah.
It's a really good thing because, like, obviously, I have been going to a few. So, as like a first time Ascent experience, can you tell us how it was?
Okay, yeah. So I guess it's Ascent can be a bit daunting, and definitely I felt like a lot of nerves, a lot of pressure because it's a very big tourney, right? You got close to 400 people playing, and that's the biggest tournament I've ever played for any game. It's very daunting, but at the same time, it's a weird experience where it's fun and because you get to like go meet a lot of different people, and also like there's a lot of side events happening. So even if you do like not make day two, you flop essentially, and then there's a lot to do. For sure. There's a lot of fun things. There was guest artists. We had Pinakis and Juby. They were selling custom playmats. They were doing like signing and I'm not sure what the word is, but essentially they can draw a card. You can pay
Proofs.
them to draw like a custom artist proof. Yeah. You can get an artist proof. There was also things like the pre-release for A and B. So we had starter deck tournaments. So we got at Singapore. We got to see and play the Jin starter decks and the Kongming starter decks before everyone.
Hmm.
So it was
Hmm.
funny because we were just there like just like taking tons of photos on our phones and like sending it to everyone back home. And they were just like losing their minds.
We
Yeah, it
didn't
was
even
great.
know that we were going to have those Star Deck tournaments until like a day or two before. We didn't even know about it, and then I got really excited because
Yeah.
I was like, I was more excited to actually do the Star Deck tournaments than play the event because at this point we were kind of over the MRC experience. So it was kind
Yeah,
of
honestly.
we were slimed out. So it was really cool to actually have those starter decks. Definitely.
Yeah, it was like a fun thing where it puts you in a weird spot where it's like like you have to focus on MRC, right? Because you have to play the tournament. But at the same time, like by that point I was so ready to just like go next, just go A and B, like just skip
Yeah.
over the whole of MRC. It was a weird like experience. But at the same time it's awesome that they're doing spoilers for the next set because it hyped everyone up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And at
So.
the same time, like also if you also if you like let's say you don't do well, right?
Mhm.
What I know a lot of people did. You just take a couple of days, like you stay in the country for a couple of days, and then you essentially have a holiday. So regardless of whether you do well or not, you're gonna
Yeah,
have fun,
pretty much. And
and
like,
that's what it is. Yeah, that's why like I love Singapore as for a holiday, and Grand Archive being a part of that. Like I think it's great because without the ascent, I don't think I would have traveled to Singapore at least for a
ever.
couple more years. It's like
Mm.
yeah, it gives you an excuse to kind of just go. Like you just send it, and the best part is like you get some of your entry pricing you can sell. So the like ticket price can be I think champion for me was about 200 AUD.
Mhm.
Like I just sold all the stuff I got from entry. Like you get play mats, you get the deck box, the Kongming one,
Promos.
and you just sell it, make your ticket price back. So you like yeah, the price is expensive, but you get the money back anyway.
As a first
So
time
not to stress
Ascent
there.
goer, was it a good experience or a bad experience? Despite your like your results and stuff, like as just pretend you didn't even play. As a person who rocked up to their first Ascent, was it a good or bad experience?
Yeah, overall I would say it's good. Like I'm here talking like happily. Just like I've played pretty bad. Would have liked to do better, but regardless, like I've overall had a great experience. I would recommend it even for people who like aren't competitive, or even if you're like someone who doesn't feel that confident in your ability.
Mhm.
Just because you get there's like a lot of fun things. It's like half a convention, honestly. It's a big tournament, but it's also like a convention, and then like everyone's there to go. A lot of people are on holiday, so they got like that holiday mood.
Exactly
It's very
right.
fun overall.
It becomes
Yeah.
more. It's more of a reason to go on a holiday than the event. And like a lot of people will say, like obviously people want to compete, they want to do well, but at the end of the day, it's more about the socialness. You get to see your friends from overseas. You get to enjoy a new country with your friends who have traveled with you to that place. Um, and it's always been like that. Like every Ascent event we've gone to, it's not the it's actually not the event that has been the big highlight of my trip. It's been the adventures and stuff I've done with my friends prior and after the trip. So it kind of it's a bit interesting to think that, like, of course, as I said, you want to go and you want to win, but it's more than that. And if you don't do well, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, like money's money, but like as you said, you sell your prizing, you get your entry back, and then you've had a nice holiday overseas with your friends.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, I feel like you can say that only because there was casinos in Singapore.
It's
If there
true.
wasn't casinos, you'd probably be like
True.
in the gutter mentally.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
probably true. I mean,
yeah.
casinos
Some
are
of the
great.
nights there were the best.
Casinos are great, and like I think that with future ascents, as they're getting more and more busier, like there's more of ascents coming out. We'll get less opportunity to probably travel to all these overseas ones because we'll have ones like nearby, or America has like three or something this year or something like that. So I think it's a
Mm.
good opportunity for us now to kind of go and experience these countries because like we might in the future not get to, you know what I'm saying? Like it's very interesting. I did enjoy Ascent. It was very stressful at times because we had no idea what we were playing up until like literally the day before, which was a bit crazy. Um, but yeah, so you went on with Water Allies, correct?
Yep. Yeah. So I chose Water Allies basically like a week before, which in hindsight was not a good idea. Don't switch
Hmm.
decks at the last minute, guys.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just play what you know, play what you've practiced is the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Water Allies in the end. You played Onsol, right? Which is a very interesting pick, given that it's not a very popular deck, but you did very well. How did your run go?
Mm, um, so it was either Onsol or it was Tristan. Um, Onsol has been kind of under the radar. Necrotic, one of the players from here, has top eighted three events last season, this MRC season.
Yeah, I think
Um,
he's won the regionals as well. He's
yeah.
won. Was it one? It was either one or two. He won at least one regionals that I
So
remember.
the results were good. There was a lot of water and soul players that were like tanking the percentages though. So
Yep.
I figured out that Fire and Soul is good into slimes. It beats slimes most of the time, and it beat Merlin most of the time. So the yeah, and it beats allies as well. So the whole game plan was to kind of beat Wind allies, beat slimes, beat Merlin, and kind of just avoid the whole Nico water allies matchup. But then we had Tristan there as well, and we kind of just couldn't make up our minds what we wanted to do. I just wanted to beat slimes, and I was expecting there to be a lot of slimes at the event. There was, I think, 40 or 36% were slimes of the players, which was actually insane how high amount there was of slimes. Um, but after all of that, only one slime player made top eight. So pretty crazy that like so many people played slimes, but only one actually converted. But no, so I played Ensol. I won all the slime matchups and I won the Merlin matchups. I lost to a Fire Eye round one, which was quite funny. He just high rolled me. It's very funny. And then I end up losing to two Water Allies players. So wasn't too unhappy. I won the matchups I expected to win. I lost the matchups I expected to lose. Ended up coming 20th. We had a really, or 21st, I think. Sorry, 20th. Sorry. Had a really interesting scenario that in the last round I matched up into Michael Yap, which is one of our locals, and we were in an awkward spot where one of us wouldn't make it. So we decided to ID, which was very risky because we were like the lower bracket of the players at that point. So I was expecting to be the bubble boy, to be honest. But up until like I saw that I was 27th or whatever, day one, I thought I was going to be 33rd. But somehow I snuck in to top 32, and then
Nice.
day two versed another Water Ally player, and then that was it pretty much for me.
Yeah. Now that I think
So
about it, actually, I think 3 Water Allies made it to. They were like top 12. One of them made it to top 8, but there was 3 of them in the top 12. So it was a solid deck, despite literally receiving no support in MRC.
yeah, so fourth place was Water Allies Lorraine, ninth place was Water Allies Lorraine, 11th place was Water Allies Lorraine. So there was a lot of Water Allies. That's 3 in the top 9, which is quite strong. Scrolling through this though, like scrolling through all the players is actually insane because it's just slime. There's so many slime players.
Yeah.
In the event, there was 208. No more. There was in the event. There was 208 slime mirror matches.
That is actually crazy. So there's. I don't know, that's like what? You'd need
That's
at least like 70 slime players because they'd be playing
hundreds.
other people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is
It's
actually
actually
insane.
insane.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we could have guessed that this was going to happen after we saw the results of onset Ascent. Was it Chicago? I think was the
Mm.
one where they had 6 out of 8 players of the top 8 with slimes.
Yes.
So yeah, but I think it is
The
interesting
surprising
to.
results were actually so Water Allies wasn't on the radar for many. Water
Hmm,
Allies was a good pick for this tournament. So Water Allies into Slimes, there was 46 matches, and Water Allies won 60.9% of the time. They versed Crux 32 matches, they won 68% of the time. And they versed Wind Allies 12 matches, which is this will be interesting for you. 75% win rate into Wind Allies.
yeah, I definitely think like historically that's an unfavored matchup for for the Water Allies. Sorry,
Mm.
but I don't know. I mean, I do know that all of them ran reprogram, so it depends which flavor of Wind Allies we're talking about because Wind robots would get like they struggle a lot against reprogram. That's why everyone puts it in.
Yeah.
If it was like the human like Wind Allies, then it is a bit of a strange statistic to
Mm.
see. But I
Very
guess there'd be a lot
interesting.
of there would have been a lot of people playing robots as opposed
I
to
think
human
so.
allies, which have fallen out of popularity.
Yeah, I definitely think so. But no, so the results were Caven came first place with Slimes. Congratulations. Caven did win the Philippines regionals the week before with close to the same list. So he's been running hot with that Slimes deck. Second place was Bob on the Stream Fire Luxem's End. I was quite surprised that Luxem did so well at this event. Third place, we had Stream Watermill Nico from Pro-An. Pro-An has been a prolific Nico player, so no shock there. Evil Dark on Water Allies Lorraine at 9-1. We had Fugitive, who is a Fire Crux Lorraine player. Lorraine / Merlin player. He's been playing, he did well at the Philippines regional as well, so he's running hot. We had Leo1223, who is a Serene Fire Luxem player. That is the player I versed at Singapore Nationals. He was on Luxem's Ender then too, so he's been on Luxem's Ender
Mm.
for a long time. We had Set Divex, who is Pro-An's teammate on Serene Watermill Nico, as expected. And we had our very own local Blue Sky Candy, Michael Yap, coming 8th place on the only Wind Shadow Strike Tristan. So that was
Yeah,
the top
definitely. Yeah,
8.
good job to all of those players for sure.
Mm.
I do think like listening to that, there's good spread. For like I
Yeah,
think there's 6 different unique decks in there. So there was like only 2 double ups.
yeah, six
The
decks, six
Luxem
decks.
Xander and the
Mm.
Nico were the
Hmm.
only double ups. Apart from that, literally in top 8, there's 6 different decks, which is
That's
it
rare.
shows that like there's a very good balance in the meta, despite the fact that slimes are over represented. But yeah, there is a good balance, meaning like which deck you play, while it does matter, I think that your skill on the deck matters significantly more like than what deck you choose to play in the end.
But then an even more interesting fact, top 19 players, 6 different decks.
It's top 19, and it's
So
not like there's a lot of one
so
particular one. It's still even.
but like from like top 8, 6 decks to top
Hmm.
19, it's still the same 6 decks.
Yeah, I mean,
So like
look, at the end of the day, you have
11 decks. So it was like Water Allies Lorraine, Slimes, Water Allies Lorraine, Nico, Merlin, Slimes, Nico, Slimes. and then me on Ensol is the flavor change there. But I think that the meta was definitely. I hate saying the meta was figured out. I hate the word figured out because I think that a meta, if you give it more time, can always be figured out further. I think there was more things to be figured out, but the meta was pretty locked on what was going to perform. I think people were pretty sure on what the meta was going to be. So, like having 19 players all the same 6 decks, obviously it makes sense that these decks have been tried and true and been practiced a lot.
Yeah, but I think even in saying that, having 6 different decks in the top 19, regardless, is like it's a healthy game state.
Hmm.
Because like Grand Archive has been done, the Weaves have done a good job creating a game that's like the rock paper scissors meta, right?
Hmm.
Where you have a lot of different decks that are viable. Because if you compare it to some other games, like I've heard Dragon Ball Z is quite bad in the sense that everyone's playing. Was it Goku? I think it's
Yeah,
like it's just everyone's playing Goku, and like we have 6 decks in the top 19, so I'd say that's a pretty good balance.
it's quite surprising that like MRC, a lot of people complained and said that Wind got too much support and that Wind was now the main deck, but there's only one Wind deck in the top 19.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean, I guess
Very
it's
interesting,
at the end
right?
of the day, it's yeah, it is interesting for sure. Wind did get a lot of support, but I guess people just learned to beat Wind because, especially with like the early stages of the set, like Wind, particular robots was like a big, like I guess boogeyman deck
Hmm.
where it took over completely, and then everyone learned to beat it by like literally just putting it reprogram.
Yeah,
Tristan also got hit with the Outlook ban, so
it's true. That is true.
I think
Very true.
Wind just suffered from an like while it's good, it suffered from an unfortunate chain of events. I would say.
Yeah,
But at the end of the
that's
day,
fair.
like it's still good. Like you got Michael Yap up there showing people why Wind is still good.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, coming from obviously Ascent Singapore and just the MRC meta in general, um, I mean, you were just saying how like 6 decks in 8 is very good. How would you say that the overall season was meta wise? Like, was it enjoyable? Was it boring? Was it etc. etc.
Yeah, oh boy. So I guess the first thing I gotta mention leading into this question is I know a lot of people and the general community didn't like MRC because of Sylvie.
Hmm.
There was the whole, like Sylvie's completely overrepresented, completely broken deck, which I agree it's very strong, but I would say that the results of Singapore have shown that yes, Sylvie's a good deck, but it's not unbeatable. And because of that, like I'd say overall, like the meta was enjoyable. Personally, because I was playing Wind Allies a lot of the time, so that's a
Hmm.
good deck into Sylvie. I didn't really
Hmm.
feel the whole like the whole despair I guess that everyone was feeling against Sylvie.
Hmm.
But yeah, I do agree that having the recollections, especially being Sylvie being like so easy to put together to build, made it. I guess there was a lot of games into Sylvie, that's for sure, which did
Hmm.
make it a bit less enjoyable. It's kind of even though the deck can be beaten, it was having it be so overrepresented, like by a significant margin, made it kind of like I guess you pair into someone and then they put out Spirit of Slime and you just go, oh my god, not this again.
Hmm.
Like it,
Yeah, I
yeah, it
100%
did
agree.
feel a bit like that. Like it got a bit stale because of that. But at the same time, like I think the counter argument is like it helps a lot of new players get into the game, and that helps the game's like health or the growth of the game overall. So there's like positives and negatives to it, and I can't complain too much
That's
overall
fair.
about it.
That's fair. I do agree mostly. I do think, and like I 100% agree with that. It was stale in the way that like I thought Luxem's meta was bad in ALC, but this was worse. But the bigger, the bigger,
Oh my god.
the bigger picture is, as you said, new players get in, and because new players get in, it's the greater good for the game. So although I am probably one of the biggest Sylvie haters because I really hate that deck. I literally played Ensol to beat that deck.
Yeah.
It isn't OP. It isn't OP. Like, while Storm Slime isn't OP, the deck's not OP. It can be beaten. But I also think that the fact that they're putting Baby Grey, Baby Green, and Slime Shield in every deck that's Wind is a problem. It's my opinion.
Yes. Absolutely. There's been a recent rise of like just a
Vanitas.
sudden like wind slime engine. Yeah, there was the Venus who did it, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it applied to more decks in the future.
I have
But
seen Jin testing with
it's such
Slimes in it.
yeah, it's a strange thing to see. I've seen there was one person doing a Crux and Soul with slimes, um, with Ascension as well, which is a funny thing because then he had the Skittles from slimes, the Skittles cards. It was a very interesting build, but yeah, I think the slime cards individually are all very strong, which is another thing people have complained about in the past. But
if
yeah,
you were to,
definitely
if
the
you were to
cards
hit
individually are a bit
if you were to hit
strong.
a card from that deck, which card would it be?
I think Baby Gray,
Yep.
realistically. A lot of people would say Storm Slime, but I think personally Baby Gray, because that card by itself enables, like, it's just too strong, right? You have one thing I would compare it to is Windmill Engineer. Windmill Engineer by itself costs 2, it's also a 1/1, but it draws into memory. They both have the reveal mechanics, so, like, that's fine. It draws into memory, meaning you can't play the card immediately, which is what Baby Gray lets you do. But for some reason, it also has Intercept,
Yep.
which is
And it
like,
doesn't have to be 2 wind. It can be any 2 slimes, and it doesn't have to be from memory. It can be from
yes.
hand or memory.
Yeah, that too. And on top of that, it being a norm card means it can be played in any deck. So there's no real I mean, I guess also you have to real slime, so it's not that bad
Mm.
since you have to play it only in a slime deck. But regardless, yeah, the fact that it has intercept and draws into hand makes it above average compared to other cards of its cost.
Yes, 100%. 100% agree. And like, I guess that's my takeaway from the MRC season. I don't think that it's the end of the world, though. As I said, I don't think anything does need to get hit. I hope that the only reason I would believe that things need to get hit in the slimes deck is if it now destroys this meta too. If it's like the whole A and B meta is slimes. If that is a thing, then there's a problem, obviously. But we're hoping.
Yeah,
I'm
for
hoping
sure.
not. I mean, like Toronto,
Yeah.
sure. Like we'll get to Toronto. I think Toronto. Well, yeah, we'll talk about Toronto after, like later on. But cool. That was the Singapore recap. We did have A and B release when we got back. I was quite wrecked. We also had PAX on the same weekend that we had the A and B release. So I did a midnight release with A and B, and then I went straight to PAX like on 3 hours sleep, and we did what was it, 14-hour days? Was it? It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was what, 10 till 10, but some people got there earlier, some people left later. So
Mm,
yeah, it was somewhere between 12 and 14 hours, and like a bunch of you guys did that back to back, which was insane.
I was
I only
dead.
did 2 of the days, not 3. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
PAX
I
was
don't know how
very
you guys did that.
successful. PAX was very successful. We taught over 400 people, a lot of new blood, a lot of people interested. The set was being released on that day too. A lot of A and B gone. It was a huge success. We had, I think, 8 new players at Box Hill on Monday, and we had like 5 new players at Good Games Greensboro. So it is definitely, you can feel the, I guess, the waves from it, which is very great. And I think that A and B is looking to grow very quickly in Australia, which is very good.
Yeah, I definitely know because a lot of the people I taught were like a lot of people travel down from the other states, and also some international people come as well. So a few of the people I taught were from like Queensland and from New South Wales.
Mm.
One person from Darwin as well, which was I thought was
Darwin.
very interesting. Yeah, so
Wow.
it'd be good to see if the the effort we put in on the PAX weekend helps to grow the other states too.
Hmm.
And maybe you never know. Maybe if our community gets big enough, we'll have a set in
I hope
Australia
so.
somewhere.
Hope one day.
Yeah, I
One
want
day,
to,
right?
man. I don't want to be buying plane tickets all the time. Like,
I agree. I think
yeah,
that like what the last 2 Ascents in OC have been in New Zealand, so surely it's eventually our time to shine, right? One day,
yeah,
hopefully.
yeah. I mean,
How
Nats
did
was great. Didn't
your
even have to fly for that.
true?
That was great.
Hopefully Nats will be here. We're not sure what Nats hasn't been announced yet, but I am hoping it is here. How was your A and B opening? Anything good?
Uh, not nothing like major good from A and B. I did like recently hit a Rococo Sig from the SP2, which
Nice.
yeah, that I mean that's great.
That's
But
great.
yeah, no like amazing pulls from A and B, I guess. How about yourself? Did you get any?
Um, Before we go to that, because that's a very interesting
Okay,
story.
that's
How
a
was your
strange way to phrase it.
How was your
Yeah,
opening experience?
in terms of A and B.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, it was good. Like I think the new full art URs definitely helps a lot in terms of like it's just exciting. It is a bit with a like bittersweet feeling though because back in the day, if you ever saw like a card without the black border, you would be like, "God damn, it's a Sig, let's go!"
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then now you're like, "Oh wait, it's just a UR." But,
Yeah.
but that's like because we've been playing the game for a while.
Hmm.
I definitely think if you come from the other side where you haven't played the game before, it like it's good because you know the card is good, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not like back in the day where a new player would
Throughout
pull
GCR.
the UR. Yeah, they pull the GC out and they'd be like, "Oh, it's another card and you just put it to the side because they didn't know to look at that tiny like yellow text in the corner.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I
That's
think it's
true.
a good thing overall. It was fun though, still fun.
So you enjoyed opening A and B?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I feel as though
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
enjoy. I've opened 3 cases. I have 2 cases left that I haven't opened. I have been very busy with packs and stuff like that, obviously as well. Um, I think, and this is fine because like I think as a veteran player, I've been playing for 2 years now. I was opening like DOA Prelude. I feel as though it's definitely shifting away from what it was opening wise. It's a good thing. It's shifting towards a newer player experience where they're going to open, get the full art, and like they're going to see all that stuff. From a veteran perspective, though, it was just very repetitive. There was a lot of cards that I've seen multiple times in multiple sets, obviously. Uh,
mm,
which, from my point of view, although it's great for newer players, for me it was like it's just a letdown to open a pack and see a backstep, a fractal of insight, and a deep sea fractal. You're just like, okay, I can go open my FTC box and find these. So like from my perspective, it wasn't as fun to open as other sets. MRC is probably still my favorite set to open. That was a very fun set to open, although the foiling was very dark. But there's some cool cards, there's some cool brewing happening. And I think that overall, this set is going to be very good for the newer player base, which is more important than at the end of the day than the veteran player base because we're probably stuck in our investment now. So there's need to get new players in, right?
yeah, yeah. It's definitely like I mean their intention was to grow the game, like make it good for new players, and that's exactly what they've done. I think
Mhm,
they've done a great job with like because we had a discussion on this before. They've done a great job with that. Like while there are reprints, I feel like there's not too many because I intentionally didn't look at the spoilers while I was opening to read through the new cards, and I felt like regardless of the reprints, there was still a lot of new cards to read through, and it
mhm,
was very exciting because of that. But also because I didn't look at the spoilers. Whenever I didn't know what was reprinted, like apart from the ones that were spoiled, the dungeon guide and whatnot, the big spoilers. But
mhm,
like when I think the first time I opened the backstep, I was like, "Damn, this card is really cool," and I was looking at the art, and then I
mhm.
read backstep. Like, but regardless, I was happy because
Mm,
like I've played a fair bit of Diana in my time. I know you definitely have too,
mm.
but I like this art more, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Creative Shock was a great reprint. I think Veteran Soldier and Honorable Vanguard, I didn't know were going to get reprinted. Those were pretty cool to see.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think definitely like it's interesting. It's kind of like SP2 and SP1, where even though you know the card exists and you already have like enough play sets of them, it's just fun to see them in different artwork.
Of
Especially
course.
because I love the whole Three Kingdom artwork,
Have
the whole
you
set. So
did you used
it's
to
fun
have
as
you
to see.
followed Three Kingdoms before this at all? Did you used to follow it?
I didn't follow it before, but one of the things that really hyped me up, there was a video that I think TM32 made where was it Leo and Byfall went through, and Byfall's like a massive um like lore buff, I guess they call him. So that really hyped me up. So if you guys got time, check out TM32's video if you're not familiar with the Three Kingdoms lore. It's actually really hype when it's like I started looking into it more, but I only looked into it because of Grand Archive, because of
Awesome. Yeah,
AMV.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Team 32 has been great actually. So shout out to them because they've been opening stock for like the last 2 days straight on stream. If you guys want to go check that out, it's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
crazy. Yeah, it's like 10, 11 hour streams of cracking stock. Okay, so A and B release overall was good. I got 2 cases left open. You enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, but I'm on the fence a little bit. I'm guessing I'm more excited. Actually, no. The only thing that really annoyed me, the reprints are fine. I didn't obviously. I also didn't like read all the cards and didn't like look at all the spoilers because I wanted to kind of enjoy it myself as well. Left some out because like I think that I think TCG Player accidentally spoiled everything, but I didn't go and look at all of it
Yep.
straight away.
Mm.
Um, but I was cracking my stuff and I saw Luxem cards, and I was like,
Yeah.
why are there Luxem Tamer cards in this set? I'm like, wow, there must be some like big champion that's going to appear. It's like a level 3 Luxem Tamer card, Luxem Tamer champion. And then like my last case and a half, I'm like desperately looking for this SR that I believe is a thing. That I believe it's gonna be like an SR champion Luxem Tamer. And
Oh
I
yeah.
waited and I cracked and I cracked and I looked and nothing. I'm like, and I was missing. I think I was missing 3 or 4 SRs. Like didn't find them. I'm like, it has to be like one of the SRs that I didn't find. And then when it went up on index, I then looked at the index to see there was no Luxem champion. So I was like, why are there Luxem cards here? I know they can be used in Luxem Xander, but like they're obviously built for this Luxem champion, which is the sister of Kong Ming, I believe. So where is she? That's how I felt about that, which was interesting.
Yep. I think like
I
it's
understand it's
a
probably next
twofold
set.
thing, right?
Yeah.
yeah. It's like I feel like this is their way of leaking next set by putting the cards into this set, which is very like it's interesting for sure.
Mm,
There's also like a lot of like Ranger bow cards, which
mm.
oddly enough haven't
But
had a
Ranger slash
champion that
Tamer
works well with it.
cards. Ranger slash Tamer cards too.
Yeah, which is like I guess there's two ways to see it. Either you get annoyed because you can't finish a deck with it because you don't have the cards, or like I personally see it as like a spoiler. It's just like
Mm.
they've leaked it without actually calling it a leak, and I think it's just like it's a cool way to do it because it makes me excited for next set.
Could those have spots been something that's more useful for this set though?
Well, yeah, they definitely could. They could have put more cards into this set, but then
Mm.
like at the end of the day, it's a question of like how many new cards can they make? Can they come up with
That's
really?
true, of course. That's
Yeah.
fair. Um, yeah, and then like there was no lineage break champions this first time, and no alternative level threes. So it's very like I think they're definitely shifting, which I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm hoping HVN has lineage break or has at least alternative level threes or something, or maybe we get like a recollection set with it. Who knows? That'd
Yep.
be kind of exciting.
Yeah. Oh, there's actually something I've been thinking of. Like, so Mordred, I came up with this idea the other day, and I want your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
So Mordred is a champion that's been in the game for forever.
Mm-hmm.
He, according, like I personally think he desperately needs some kind of support,
Mm-hmm.
mainly like, and he probably will be the next recollection. But then I was thinking if they made him a recollection, what element would he be? And then it got me thinking, right? He can't
Mm.
be Luxem
No.
simply because Excalibur exists, and that
Mm-hmm.
like the second part that no one remembers makes him completely broken because it turns off elements.
Yep.
But then of the three Cambria elements, right? There's Luxem, Arcane, and Crux. We already have two Crux warriors, so he can't be Crux.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me thinking. That leaves Arcane. What if we had Arcane Mordred? And then I was cooking. I was like, all right, we have Arcane Mordred. What's his effect? Well, Arcane's lightning. So what if Mordred's thing is that he's fast like lightning, so he actually can use attack cards at fast speed?
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
That's very cool. There was actually, as you know, back in the very beginning of this game, Spirit Blade Ghost Strike. I'm sure you've never seen that card played before, but it's a zero cost one
Yep.
damage. It's a zero cost one damage attack that on attack you get plus one attack for the turn. It used to be a fast attack.
Hmm.
So back in the
So it was
very
the only
beginning,
one.
you used to be able to on their turn Spirit Blade Ghost Strike them on their turn, which was kind of cool because it was fast, right?
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Obviously it was broken. They changed it that you couldn't do that. In regards to the Arcane Mordred, the way I think is Tristan was from DOA from Cambria. She got Umbra,
Yep.
so I feel like it won't be locked into Cambria. I have a feeling it would be Neos Mordred.
Hmm. But then my question to you is like, so by law, Tristan is kind of like a shadowy character that somehow snuck into Azoth.
Hmm.
Mordred is a like a knight type of character, right? He
Hmm.
seems like more the type like he's not gonna like randomly sneak out of his own world.
That's true.
So there's that. There might
Mm.
be a reason for him to travel.
Was
But
he
that yeah, that
he was from Camelot or Cambridge, so he wasn't in the Grand Archive, so he's not going to really travel, right? So he doesn't really have a choice
what
to
is the law? I think there was something like all champions become
because
because Mordred's a champion.
he's not like a Grand Archive champion, right?
I think he is because I thought all champions were part of Grand Archive.
No, I think
At which point you're right, he could travel.
the lineage break champions are from that world,
Okay, actually, yes.
is what I
Okay.
believe.
Yep.
So like Tristan, Mordred, and
I
Alan
guess Merlin. Yeah.
and Merlin.
Those three
So
are the Cambria ones, yeah.
they're from Cambria, and like Mordred is in the law of Camelot is part
Oh yeah.
of
Yeah.
Camelot. So I believe that they don't move. I believe it's like Lorraine, Rye, Xander. They're all the moving champions, I believe. But hey, I am a law buff, but I'm not a law buff really as much as other people. So I think that's how it works. But if I'm wrong and he does travel, then he could go to other places and he could be Neos, which I would
Yeah,
think.
okay.
So I think Alan will be Astra as well at some point. Astra Alan, because he's level 2 glimpses, so makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. He could have some kind of mechanic for it. Damn.
But Arcane Mordred
But yeah,
would be
I
cool.
feel like
That'd be very cool.
yeah,
He gets like
because
a
yeah,
lightning arcane blade. That'd be kind of cool too.
yeah, he'd be like one of those rune blades, like Flame Rune Swordsman.
Love
He's
Rune
a
Blade.
magical warrior.
That'd be very
Yeah,
cool.
good old throwback.
Um, all right, so we're moving into Toronto. Toronto is a week and a half away. We have got to cook a little bit, not much, as we've been at PAX, obviously. What is your meta prediction for Toronto?
Yep. So having a look at a lot of the cards, I think a lot of the like things like Sylvie and mainly Sylvie, I think is given that she's the boogeyman, we have to consider her first.
Hmm.
I think Sylvie will still be like very represented,
Hmm.
but she won't be as good as she used to be. Like well, essentially she's the same power level, but she got close to no support. I don't think I've seen a single card put into a Sylvie deck
Terror
that I
Shield?
know of, anyway. Yeah, possibly, but you already have enough defensive tools. Like you don't.
Mm,
I think essentially Sylvie got minimal tools, so she's going to be the same power level while everyone else moves above her.
hmm.
So it'll be an interesting thing. I definitely think Jin will be like a very prevalent thing because he of the two new champions, he's the easier one.
Hmm.
So people can figure out Jin faster than they'll figure out Kongming. Kongming, I personally think will take longer to figure out, and therefore she won't do as well.
Hmm.
Because she's kind of like I compare her to Tristan and Sylvie. Right, Sylvie was the easier one. Um, People figured out Sylvie faster, and Tristan, like it took what was it, Caben and Sean were the two like people who took Tristan the furthest, but then other players figured it out later,
Hmm.
just because it's the harder character. So I think Jin will have a big like place. He'll be figured out more, and he'll do better
Yeah.
than Kongming. Kongming, maybe one or two players will get super like really high in Toronto, but there won't be many.
Okay.
And then as for other classes, I know Wind Allies got a lot of support. They got the whole like the three Sword Sisters,
Hmm.
and then they've got cards that support them. Water
Dino
Allies will
as
still
well.
be a thing. Yep. Apart from that, what else might we see? Fire aggro, I think will be a thing. Some form of fire aggro jit. Definitely, I think we'll see a lot of.
Hmm.
And then, are there any other major decks that I'm missing? Do you think?
I believe Nico. I believe Water in general got a buff with Glacial Evocation and Tidal Lock. I feel like those cards make Water stronger. I think that Allies, as you said, has a really good big buff because they got the horses and they got the new human allies. I think wind robots will kind of fall back a little bit. But in
Mm.
regards to like meta calling Toronto, I think there will be Merlin. Always will be Merlin. There'll always be Sylvies because they're decks that are very. I like the Gauntlet Gateway decks right now. I think Merlin got stronger this set with the Kongming Norm and like normal element cards that she got that Merlin now can use, like Heart and Spellcraft, Mnemonic Charm, etc. I have seen some Imperial Seal Merlins running around throwing fireballs with Imperial Seal, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
But yeah, my end of day medical would be Merlin, Sylvie, Fire Aggro, and Allies slash Nico would be my top 32 prediction.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
think you'll see
Definitely.
Kongming top 32. I think you will see a little bit of Jin, but I don't think you'll see uh, like Jin is good into probably slimes, but I think they kind of get ruined a little bit by some fast players like Merlin or Aggro Xander that can like plan to the end step. At the same time, 35 health is a lot to deal with Aggro Fire Xander. So perhaps because Jin has such a high life pool, it could be the first time we see Fire Aggro not do well because they're running into these Jins that are immortal and just one shot you. So this could be the first time where Fire Aggro actually doesn't do well, and Jin takes that spot as the um, gateway figure how to beat Jin or lose. Because I think that you need knowledge to beat Jin, and Jin needs knowledge to beat other characters. If you don't know how Jin works, you will lose to Jin. Is what I've learned.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, that's true.
learning to like hold a Fracturize on their chest plate, hold a Zephyr on their chest plate, hold a Baby Green on their chest plate, learning to sit them at 28 so they have to heal or they have to do something. All of these things. Learning not to Storm Slime. You do not Storm Slime a Jin ever. You never want to play a Storm Slime against Jin. You want to be banishing your Storm Slimes because they'll proof of life a Storm Slime and they'll one shot you. All of this knowledge is knowledge that people need to learn now while running into Jin for Toronto.
And definitely we'll see a lot of it on stream as well.
Hmm.
See the things you should and shouldn't do for sure. But yeah, I definitely think like with most sets, you're right. Where early on, aggro tends to take over the set just
Hmm.
because the control decks haven't like perfected their decks yet using the
Hmm.
new cards.
Hmm.
And then it's usually at the later stages of the set where aggro decks sorry, control decks like begin to perfect their decks and then control the aggro successfully.
Correct.
But yeah, definitely that's yeah. So that's what you were talking about when you said aggro won't be good for the first time, and
Yeah.
I agree with that in the sense that Jin has just his health pool is so large, it's ridiculously large, and some of the decks like water allies, wind allies don't really have good ways to deal with like fast speed damage because even if they get to a range where they can do fast damage at an end step, they've already put him to like 30 plus damage in order for that to be relevant. I think
Yeah.
aggro fire probably struggles with that same issue where they have to use attack damage to get to a certain point before they can fast speed kill someone.
Pretty
So
much.
yeah,
And like I think
yeah,
that
Jin will be good for controlling them.
especially Wind Gin with some Veiling or like a Fire Gin that goes straight to 3. I feel like if the Gin messes around too much level 1 or 2, it just loses to aggro. But if you've got like a Fire Gin, there has been some Fire Gin testing where like you're playing Merlin's Foundation, you're just crave shocking, you're cremating, you're putting float in the bin, you're leveling up as fast as possible. Um, these aggro decks like Aggro Xander will now need like a Vanish from Sight or a Safeguard Amulet, or they're just going to die on the clapback. Like they can't kill, they literally can't kill Jin, so they will get one turn to kill you. How does Agro Fire Xander stop themselves from dying on that turn?
Yeah,
So
that's the very interesting thing where for the first time we might see some of these really aggressive decks have defensive options in their like decks, knowing that once Jin gets put to that threshold like 30-ish HP or higher, like they will hit back and they will kill you.
yeah,
And so yeah, you need a way to survive that, which it'll be interesting to see if people run defensive tools in their aggro decks, things like maybe vanish from sight to survive, like
but then
to
even
hide
then,
from
like
the big
they're
hit.
using the Relentless Outburst, whatever it's called anyway. So I think that like the only way that an aggro deck does well is it's gonna, as you said earlier, it'll be Aggro Fire Jin, who themselves can go to 3 if they need to, again the mirror, and then it's whoever has more damage on the losers. So
Yeah, possibly. Or it could
very
be like
interesting.
people could put in Safeguard Amulet to deal with that card as well.
Yeah, Safeguard's
Because
very
it
good for that
functions
card.
like Advent, so Safeguard is
Correct.
amazing for it.
Safeguard, Veiling, they're both very amazing for it. Even Slime Shield's amazing for it. So yeah, I think that's good medical. I think you can it'd be crazy to say that Slimes and Melon don't do well. I think they will do well until the meta fully shifts away, which I don't think I can see Slimes doing well in for the near future until they like Mnemonic Charm is great, but it's just a worse baby grey still.
Yeah, Forest Cake. Yeah.
Yeah, worse Forest Cake.
Yeah.
You don't draw a card. You draw a card into
Yeah.
memory. So I think that Slimes will continue to be good. I will, nonetheless, we'll be watching Toronto and we'll be preparing for Ascent New Zealand from it. So we're quite lucky to be. We get to see Toronto and then figure out what we're doing for New Zealand, which is great.
Yeah, we don't have to play the Wild Wild West. That's we'll leave that to the
Yes.
guys up in Toronto.
Yes, although I did enjoy in Ontario, the Wild Wild West was really fun. But I feel like right now, if you're a player going to Toronto, you're thinking, do I risk it with a gin or do I play like something that's tried and true? So it's going to be very interesting to see what people do turn up with. I do hope we see some new, like some good players turn up with some spice. That'd be fun. I'd love to see a Kongwing do well. I'd love to see Arasana do well. Arasana's been getting tools like non-stop and nothing, no one's playing it yet. So I think Arasana might be good now
Hmm.
too.
Yep. I was looking at some of the cards. I think there's actually a lot of new Diana Ranger cards. So maybe for the first time in a long time, we'll see a Diana pop up in there somewhere.
I
Like
mean,
that's my like secret hope for the decks. Yeah. Are there any like wild decks that you want to show up in the top 32, even if they're not good?
yes, I would love to see Sylvie Mill.
Oh boy, what a Sylvie!
I'd
Give
love to
me
see Water Sylvie Mill. That'd be fun. I would also love to see a Water Rye. That'd be cool too. Because
true. I'm
Water,
sure the Arcane Riot, like all the dedicated one tricks are cooking right now. They're
because
probably in their
Water
basement just like
Rye,
cooking.
I've been playing Water Rye. Water Rye feels very nice now, especially with Mnemonic Charm and Rising Tides. Um, it feels really cool. You still pay Arcane, but then you can just Lost in Thoughts or the float away that you get pluses off anyway.
True, actually, yeah. So you have a different use for the floats. That's
Yeah,
smart.
yeah. I never use it to
Yeah.
level up. I just lost in thought to draw cards at the end. But I was running 4 Advent, 4 Arcane Blast, 4 Arcane Sight, 4 Heightened Spellcraft, 4 Mnemonic Charms. And there was a turn against a Jin where turn 3 I got to 3, and we popped 2 Mnemonic Charms, double Heightened Spellcraft, Advent level turn 3.
That's insane.
with like three
Wait,
cards
so
in hand.
were you the ride level? Oh no, you had to be ride level 3.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was right level 8. I
That-
was like level 8 off Arcane, and then I like
Yeah.
popped double mnemonic into like a heighten, and I could play Advent with like 3, 4 cards in hand. So pretty cool. I did
Yeah.
die. I did die though. I blew him up to like 40 damage, and he one shot me. But it was still very cool. I do think that's a
Yeah.
hard matchup for Rye because you just
Mm,
have to get cracked back, as we were saying before. So no,
yeah.
I'm excited for the cooks. I'm hoping there will be some new brews. Good luck to everyone playing in Toronto, and yeah, we'll be grinding to get ready for New Zealand. But yeah, anything else you can think of? I think we've gone through a fair bit.
Yeah, we have gone through a fair bit. I guess the only other thing would be, might as well mention it, but we got this new overlay, whatever this thing's
Yeah,
called here. So
Justin made
yeah,
this. Looks
hope you got
great.
yeah, hope you guys like it and let us know your thoughts in the comments on it. Yeah, I did make it, so if you got any suggestions for improvements, I'm all ears. Yeah,
And
I'd love
also
to
for any
hear your thoughts.
content ideas, guys, post in the comments any content ideas you would like. We're happy to make different content. We are excited to make different content. So if you have any cool content ideas, let us know as well. Sweet.
Yeah, all right, sweet. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.